Hi, welcome to English Hamster. Are you learning English? Great. Here we learn through stories. They are simple and interesting. You can improve English while learning knowledge. Remember to subscribe, like and comment. Let's get started.
Have you ever wondered who helped create the powerful technology that makes your computer games look amazing or your smartphone run smoothly? Let me tell you about Jensen Huang. He is the man behind Nvidia, one of the most important companies in the world of technology. Nvidia makes graphics cards, which are used in computers, video games, and even in the latest artificial intelligence programs. But who is this man? How did he turn his idea into something that changed the world? Today, we'll explore his story and how Nvidia became one of the most successful technology companies of all time. The early years of Jensen Huang. Jensen Huang's story starts in Taiwan, a small island in East Asia. He was born in 1963 in the city of Taipei. When he was very young, his family decided to move to the United States. They wanted to find better opportunities, and they believed America would give them a chance to have a better life. This was not an easy decision for the family. They left their home, friends, and everything they knew. It was a big change. At first, life in America was difficult. They did not have much money, and the family had to work hard to support themselves. Huang's parents worked many hours in small jobs, but despite the challenges, they never gave up. They believed in hard work and education. They wanted to give their children a better future, and they knew that education was the way to do it. Jensen was only 9 years old when he moved to the United States, and this was a big change for him as well. He had to learn a new language, make new friends, and adjust to a new culture. At school, he often felt different. His classmates spoke English, and he had to learn quickly to understand them. But Jensen was a smart and determined boy. Even though it was hard, he loved to learn. He worked hard every day to improve his English and do well in his studies. In school, Jensen showed an interest in math and science. He was always curious about how things worked. He would take apart small machines and try to understand their parts. Sometimes, his parents would buy him toys that he could build and fix. Jensen spent hours putting things together, and he loved the feeling of understanding how they worked. This was when he started to develop an interest in technology. As he got older, Jensen's passion for technology grew. He decided that he wanted to study engineering when he went to university. He wanted to understand how machines and computers worked so he could create his own. He applied to several universities in the United States, and he was accepted by the University of Oregon, a well-known school in the country. There, he studied electrical engineering. Electrical engineering is a field that focuses on designing and building electronic devices like computers, phones, and other machines. At the University of Oregon, Jensen worked hard. He knew that education was important if he wanted to achieve his dreams. He was a good student, and his professors saw that he was very talented. But Jensen was not just interested in the classes and textbooks. He wanted to learn more about the world of computers. In his free time, he read books about technology and started to experiment with building his own small machines. He realized that technology could be more than just a hobby for him. It could be a career. After completing his studies at the University of Oregon, Jensen decided to continue his education at one of the best universities in the world, Stanford University. Stanford is in California, and it is known for being a place where many great technology companies have started. It was the perfect place for someone like Jensen, who dreamed of creating something big in the world of technology. At Stanford, he continued studying electrical engineering, and he learned even more about computers and technology. During his time at Stanford, Jensen met many talented people. Some of them became his close friends, and they shared similar interests in technology and innovation. He realized that to create something great, he would need a team of smart people to help him. He also learned that the world of technology was changing quickly. The personal computer was becoming more popular, and people were starting to use computers for more than just work. They were using them for entertainment, too, especially video games. Jensen began to think about how he could use his skills to make computers better, faster, and more exciting for people. He knew that one of the biggest problems with computers at the time was that their graphics, or the images on the screen, were not very good. Video games, which were becoming more popular, were not as realistic as people wanted them to be. Jensen thought, what if I could create a way to make computers show better images, especially for video games? This idea was the start of what would eventually become his company, Nvidia. Jensen's time at Stanford was important for another reason. It was at Stanford that he realized he could take his knowledge and turn it into something big. Many students at Stanford dreamed of starting their own companies, but Jensen was different. He was not afraid of failure, and he knew that with hard work and determination, he could achieve his goals. This attitude would help him later when he started Nvidia. After finishing his studies at Stanford, Jensen had everything he needed to start his career. He had the knowledge, the skills, and the confidence to take on the challenges ahead. But he did not jump straight into starting his own company. Instead, he worked for a few years in the technology industry, learning more about how businesses worked and how to build products. He worked for a company that made computer hardware, where he learned a lot about how to create and sell products. But deep down, he knew he wanted to create something of his own. He wanted to build a company that would change the world, and that company would be Nvidia. Jensen Huang's early years were filled with challenges, but they also shaped him into the person he would become. He learned the importance of hard work, education, and believing in yourself. These lessons would help him later as he started his own company and changed the world of technology forever. Creating Nvidia after finishing his studies and gaining experience in the technology industry, Jensen Huang was ready to make his big move. He had learned a lot from his time at Stanford and his work in the technology field, but now he wanted to create something of his own. He dreamed of building a company that would change the world of computers and video games. In 1993, with the knowledge he had gained and a strong belief in his vision, Jensen Huang co-founded a company called Nvidia. At the time, the world of computers was very different from what it is today. Computers were mostly used for work. People used them to write documents, do math, or send emails. But there was one area of technology that was growing quickly: video games. People loved playing games, and game developers wanted to make their games look better and more exciting. However, the technology at the time was not good enough to create the detailed graphics that players wanted to see in games. This is where Jensen saw an opportunity. Jensen and his two friends, Chris Malachowski and Curtis Preem, started Nvidia with the idea of creating something that would change the way people experienced video games. They wanted to build a device that could make the graphics in video games look more realistic and beautiful. This device was called a graphics card. Graphics cards are small pieces of technology that help a computer show pictures, images, and videos on a screen. They make everything from video games to movies look better. At first, Nvidia was a very small company with just a few people working in a small office. The company faced many challenges. The competition in the technology industry was tough, and there were already many big companies that made computer parts. But Jensen and his team were determined. They believed in their idea and worked hard to make it a reality. They spent many long hours designing the first Nvidia graphics card. It wasn't easy. There were many mistakes and setbacks along the way, but they kept going. In 1999, after years of hard work, Nvidia released its first big product, the GeForce graphics card. The GeForce card was a huge success. It allowed video games to look much better, with more colors, smoother movement, and more detailed images. People were amazed at how much better the graphics were compared to other games at the time. Gamers loved it. The GeForce card quickly became popular, and Nvidia started to get a lot of attention. It was a breakthrough moment for the company, and it helped establish Nvidia as a leader in the world of graphics technology. But even with the success of the GeForce graphics card, Nvidia still had a long way to go. The company knew that it had to keep improving and innovating. In the early 2000s, computers were getting faster, and video games were becoming more complex. To stay ahead of the competition, Nvidia needed to create new and better products. Jensen and his team began to think about how they could make their graphics cards even more powerful. They realized that computers were not just used for gaming anymore. People were also using them for things like working with video and creating 3D designs. These tasks also needed powerful graphics cards. Around the same time, the world of technology was changing again. New kinds of devices, like smartphones and tablets, were becoming very popular. These devices also needed powerful graphics cards. Nvidia recognized that they could use their technology in these new devices, too. This idea led to the development of a new type of graphics card, called a GPU, or Graphics Processing Unit. The GPU is a special kind of chip that can handle more complex tasks and make computers and devices even faster. The first GPUs created by Nvidia were also very successful. The company continued to grow and expand its product line. It wasn't just about making video games look better anymore. Nvidia was becoming a key player in many different areas of technology. Their GPUs were used in everything from professional workstations for scientists and engineers to supercomputers that helped with research in areas like climate change and medicine. One of the key factors in Nvidia's success was its ability to stay focused on innovation. While other companies were making products that were only slightly different from what they had made before, Nvidia was always looking for new ways to improve. The company wasn't afraid to take risks and try new ideas, even when other companies weren't sure if those ideas would work. This willingness to innovate helped Nvidia grow and stay ahead of its competitors. As the years went by, Nvidia's reputation as a leader in the technology world continued to grow. The company expanded into new markets, such as artificial intelligence and machine learning. These are areas of technology that involve teaching computers to think and learn by themselves. Nvidia's GPUs became some of the most important tools in these fields, helping researchers and companies develop new technologies that could change the world. Through all of this, Jensen Huang remained the driving force behind the company. His vision, hard work, and determination were key to Nvidia's success. He always believed in his team and the potential of their technology, and that belief helped drive the company forward. Looking back, it's amazing to see how far Nvidia has come since its early days. What started as a small company with a simple idea to make video games look better, has grown into one of the most important technology companies in the world. Today, Nvidia's products are used by millions of people every day, and the company is leading the way in areas like artificial intelligence and machine learning. But none of this would have been possible without the hard work and vision of Jensen Huang and his team. They took a small idea, worked hard to make it real, and changed the world of technology forever. The rise of Nvidia after the successful launch of their first GeForce graphics card in 1999, Nvidia began to grow quickly. The company had shown the world that it could create something special, something that could make computers and video games look much better. The GeForce card was a big step forward in the world of gaming and technology, but Nvidia was just getting started. As the years passed, the company's growth and success became even more impressive. In the early days, most people didn't know much about Nvidia. The company was small, and there were many bigger companies that made computer parts like Intel and ATI. But Nvidia had something special. They had a team of people who were passionate about making technology better, and they believed in their products. They worked hard every day, and soon, people started to notice their graphics cards. Gamers were especially excited because Nvidia's cards made video games look much more realistic. Games became more colorful, and the characters in those games began to look more real than ever before. The GeForce card wasn't just popular with gamers. It also caught the attention of companies that used computers for other purposes, like video editing or scientific research. Nvidia's graphics cards were powerful and fast, and they made it possible to do more complicated tasks, like creating 3D images or working with large video files. As a result, Nvidia's technology was used in many different fields, not just gaming. This helped the company grow faster and gain recognition in many different industries. By the early 2000s, Nvidia had become a well-known name in the world of technology. The company released more and more powerful graphics cards, each one better than the last. They kept improving the GeForce line, and soon, people were buying their cards not only for gaming, but also for professional use. The company's graphics cards were being used in workstations where scientists, engineers, and artists created 3D models or studied large amounts of data. This was a new market for Nvidia, and it helped the company become even more successful. One of the biggest moments in Nvidia's rise was when the company introduced a new type of technology called a GPU, or graphics processing unit. Before GPUs, computers used a simpler graphics card that only handled basic images and video. But the GPU was much more powerful. It could handle much more complex tasks, like processing 3D graphics and running many tasks at the same time. This made Nvidia's products even more important, not just for video games, but for many different fields, including scientific computing, artificial intelligence (AI), and machine learning. In 2006, Nvidia launched its first CUDA platform, which allowed GPUs to be used for tasks beyond graphics. CUDA, which stands for Compute Unified Device Architecture, made it possible for scientists, engineers, and researchers to use the power of Nvidia's GPUs to speed up the work they were doing. For example, researchers studying the human brain or climate change could use GPUs to process large amounts of data much faster than before. This opened up many new opportunities for the company. Nvidia's technology was no longer just for games. It was being used to solve some of the world's biggest problems. Nvidia's rise to success wasn't just about creating better products. It was also about smart decisions and new ideas. Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, played a huge role in the company's success. He was always looking for new opportunities, and he wasn't afraid to take risks. One of his biggest decisions was to enter the world of artificial intelligence, AI. AI is the field of technology where machines can learn and make decisions on their own. And it's one of the most exciting areas in technology today. In the past, AI was a slow process that took a lot of time and resources. But with the help of Nvidia's powerful GPUs, AI research could be done much faster. The company's GPUs could process huge amounts of information, which made them perfect for AI tasks. As a result, many companies and universities began using Nvidia's GPUs to train their AI systems. Nvidia quickly became a leader in the AI space, helping researchers develop self-driving cars, medical diagnoses, and robotics. By the time the 2010s came around, Nvidia was not just a company that made graphics cards for gamers. It had become a leader in several different fields, from gaming to scientific research to artificial intelligence. The company's products were everywhere, and they were being used by people and organizations around the world. Nvidia's reputation as a company that could innovate and create powerful technology continued to grow. Jensen Huang's vision of using graphics technology to improve many different areas of life had become a reality. Another important step in Nvidia's rise was its partnership with automobile companies. Many car companies were interested in using artificial intelligence to create self-driving cars. Self-driving cars use AI to make decisions on the road, such as when to stop, turn, or speed up. These cars need powerful computers to process the information from the sensors, cameras, and radar systems that help the car see the world. Nvidia's GPUs were the perfect solution. The company worked with many car manufacturers, helping them develop self-driving technology. As a result of all these efforts, Nvidia became one of the most successful companies in the world of technology. The company's products were used in many different industries, and its technology was making a big impact on the way people lived and worked. In addition to its success in gaming and AI, Nvidia also expanded into other areas like virtual reality and cloud computing. The company continued to improve its products and stay ahead of its competitors. Today, Nvidia is one of the most valuable technology companies in the world. It is a leader in the fields of graphics technology, artificial intelligence, and autonomous driving. The company's growth over the years is a great example of how innovation, hard work, and smart decisions can lead to success. From a small startup in the 1990s to a global technology giant, Nvidia's rise is a story of determination, vision, and the ability to adapt to new challenges. And all of this started with a simple idea: to make video games look better. Challenges along the way. Even though Nvidia had a lot of early successes, the road to becoming one of the most important technology companies in the world was not always smooth. Like every company, Nvidia faced many challenges. These challenges tested the company's strength and ability to adapt. But through it all, Nvidia's team, led by Jensen Huang, worked hard to overcome these problems and keep the company growing. One of the first big challenges Nvidia faced was competition. The technology world is filled with many companies that want to be the best. When Nvidia started, there were already large companies that made graphics cards, like ATI Technologies. ATI was a well-known company that had been in the graphics business for many years. They had many customers and a strong reputation in the market. This made it very hard for a new company like Nvidia to compete. In the beginning, Nvidia had to prove that its products were better than those of the competition. It wasn't easy, especially because ADI already had a strong presence in the market. But Jensen Huang and his team were determined to succeed. They focused on creating products that were faster, better, and more powerful than anything else on the market. Over time, the GeForce graphics card became very popular, and Nvidia started to gain more customers. This helped the company slowly catch up to, and eventually surpass, ADI in terms of sales and reputation. Another challenge Nvidia faced was the rapidly changing technology industry. The world of technology moves very fast, and new innovations are always around the corner. In the early 2000s, people started to use mobile phones and tablets more and more. These devices didn't have the same kind of powerful graphics cards that computers had. Instead, they used smaller and simpler systems to display images and run games. As a result, Nvidia realized that it needed to adapt its products to meet the needs of these new devices. At first, Nvidia was focused mainly on making graphics cards for desktop computers. But with the rise of mobile phones and tablets, the company needed to find new ways to apply its technology to these smaller devices. Nvidia had to develop new types of chips that were smaller, more efficient, and could fit into mobile devices without draining their battery life. This was a difficult challenge because mobile devices had different needs than desktop computers. They needed to be lightweight, fast, and have long-lasting battery power, while still providing good performance for games and other applications. In 2011, Nvidia introduced the Tegra mobile processor. This chip was designed specifically for smartphones, tablets, and other mobile devices. It allowed these devices to run better games, display high-quality graphics, and use power more efficiently. The Tegra chip was a success, and it helped Nvidia enter the growing mobile device market. But the company had to face many technical and design challenges to create a chip that would meet the needs of mobile users. It was not an easy task, but Nvidia's engineers worked hard to make it happen. Another challenge Nvidia faced was the global economic situation. In the 2000s, the world went through a difficult time, especially with the 2008 financial crisis. Many companies around the world were affected by this crisis. People were spending less money, and businesses were cutting costs. Nvidia was not immune to the effects of the global economy. In fact, in 2008, the company faced some of its hardest times. Sales of computer products, including graphics cards, started to slow down as people cut back on spending. Nvidia had to find ways to survive during these tough times. In response, Nvidia made some important changes to its strategy. The company decided to focus more on diversification, the idea of expanding into different markets and technologies. Instead of relying only on graphics cards for computers, Nvidia began to look at other areas, such as artificial intelligence, AI, autonomous vehicles, and data centers. These areas offered new opportunities for growth and were not as affected by the financial crisis. By focusing on new areas, Nvidia was able to continue growing even when the economy was struggling. Despite the challenges, Jensen Huang's leadership was crucial to the company's ability to push forward. He always believed in innovation and risk-taking. Even when things were difficult, he made sure the company kept developing new technologies and looking for ways to improve its products. Jensen encouraged his team to stay focused on the future and never give up, no matter how tough the situation was. As the company grew, Nvidia also faced challenges related to competition from other companies. Even though Nvidia had a strong position in the market, companies like AMD and Intel continued to improve their own products. These companies often introduced new technologies that could challenge Nvidia's position in the market. For example, Intel started making its own powerful graphics chips, which meant Nvidia had to work even harder to stay ahead. At the same time, AMD continued to improve its own graphics cards, which pushed Nvidia to innovate even faster. Nvidia responded to these challenges by focusing on research and development. The company invested heavily in R&D to ensure that it could always create the best products. By staying ahead of its competitors and developing new technologies, Nvidia was able to maintain its leadership in the market. The company also worked to strengthen its partnerships with other companies, which helped them create even more powerful and advanced products. Another challenge that Nvidia faced was the changing needs of its customers. As technology evolved, customers began to expect more from their devices. They wanted better graphics, faster speeds, and more powerful processing. To meet these demands, Nvidia had to constantly improve its products. The company had to keep up with new technologies like virtual reality, VR, cloud computing, and machine learning. Each of these areas required new kinds of hardware and software, and Nvidia had to adapt to meet the needs of its customers. Despite all the difficulties, Nvidia's ability to adapt, innovate, and take risks helped it grow into one of the most successful companies in the world. Today, Nvidia is a global leader in technology, and the company continues to face new challenges. But if there's one thing that is clear, it's that Nvidia has always been ready to face whatever comes next. Through hard work, smart decisions, and a strong belief in its products, Nvidia has proven that it can overcome any challenge that stands in its way. The future of Nvidia. As Nvidia moves into the future, the company faces exciting opportunities and challenges. Over the years, Jensen Huang and his team have worked hard to make Nvidia a leader in many areas of technology. From gaming to artificial intelligence, AI, the company has changed the way we think about technology. But what does the future hold for Nvidia? Will the company continue to grow and lead in new areas, or will new challenges slow them down? Let's take a look at what the future of Nvidia might look like. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. One of the biggest areas for Nvidia's future is artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning. These are technologies that allow computers to learn and make decisions on their own. AI is already being used in many different fields, such as healthcare, finance, transportation, and education. For example, AI helps doctors make better decisions about patient care, helps businesses predict the future, and is even used in self-driving cars. As AI continues to improve, it will become a bigger part of our lives. Nvidia's GPUs, graphics processing units, are some of the best tools for AI and machine learning. They help computers process information very quickly, which is important for AI. The company's powerful GPUs are used by scientists, engineers, and researchers to create AI systems that can learn faster and work more effectively. In the future, Nvidia will continue to improve its AI technology, making it even faster and more efficient. As more companies and industries begin using AI, Nvidia will be in a strong position to lead the way. Nvidia has already made great strides in AI with its CUDA platform, which allows developers to use GPUs for a wide range of tasks, not just for gaming. With more companies and researchers using AI for important projects, Nvidia will continue to be at the heart of AI technology, helping to create smarter machines and better solutions for the world's biggest problems. Autonomous vehicles. Another exciting area for Nvidia is autonomous vehicles, or self-driving cars. Self-driving cars are vehicles that can drive themselves without a human driver. These cars use sensors, cameras, and AI to understand their surroundings and make decisions on the road. The goal of autonomous vehicles is to make driving safer, reduce traffic accidents, and make transportation more efficient. Nvidia's powerful GPUs and AI technology are helping car companies develop autonomous vehicles. The company's drive platform is designed to power self-driving cars and is already used by many car manufacturers around the world. In the future, self-driving cars could become more common on the roads, and Nvidia will continue to play an important role in making this technology better and more reliable. As self-driving technology improves, Nvidia will also help make it safer. For example, the company is working on technology that allows cars to see the world better. This includes improving the sensors and cameras used in self-driving cars, so they can detect obstacles, traffic signals, and pedestrians more accurately. Nvidia's focus on improving the technology behind autonomous vehicles will help change the way we travel in the future. Virtual reality and augmented reality. Another area where Nvidia is working hard is virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR. VR is a technology that creates a completely artificial environment, allowing people to experience things in a new way. AR, on the other hand, adds digital information to the real world. Both technologies are already being used in gaming, education, and training, but they have even more potential for the future. Nvidia is already making powerful GPUs that are used in VR and AR applications. For example, VR is often used in gaming to create immersive worlds where players can feel like they are really inside the game. In the future, VR could be used in many more ways, such as virtual meetings, training for doctors or pilots, and even virtual vacations. AR is also a growing area. It could be used to help people see directions on the road, learn new skills, or even get more information about the world around them. As VR and AR continue to improve, Nvidia's technology will be at the center of these changes. The company is already working on creating better graphics for VR and AR, making the experience smoother and more realistic. In the future, Nvidia will help take VR and AR to new levels, creating experiences that we can't even imagine today. Cloud computing. The future of technology also includes cloud computing. Cloud computing is the idea of using remote servers rather than local computers to store data and run programs. Instead of storing everything on your personal computer, you can access data and software from anywhere, at any time, using the internet. This is especially useful for businesses, as they can store large amounts of data and run powerful applications without needing to own expensive equipment. Nvidia's powerful GPUs are already used in cloud computing to help companies process data and run complex programs. The company's technology allows businesses to do things like run simulations, analyze large sets of data, and create AI systems. As more companies move to the cloud, Nvidia's role in cloud computing will continue to grow. In the future, Nvidia will play a key role in making cloud computing faster, more efficient, and more powerful. The role of gaming. Of course, gaming will always be an important part of Nvidia's business. The company's graphics cards are still some of the best in the world for creating beautiful, realistic graphics in video games. As gaming continues to grow in popularity, Nvidia will continue to improve its products to give players the best experience possible. The future of gaming is also changing. With the rise of cloud gaming, players can play high-quality video games on their phones, tablets, and computers without needing expensive consoles or PCs. Instead of owning a gaming machine, players will be able to stream games from the cloud. Nvidia is already working on cloud gaming technology, and the company will continue to help make gaming more accessible to everyone in the future. The future of Nvidia is full of exciting possibilities. The company has already made a big impact on the world of technology, and it will continue to lead in areas like artificial intelligence, self-driving cars, virtual reality, and cloud computing. With its powerful GPUs and commitment to innovation, Nvidia will play an important role in shaping the future of technology. Whether it's making gaming more fun, helping cars drive themselves, or creating smarter machines, Nvidia will continue to change the way we live and work for many years to come. Jensen Huang's story is one of hard work, innovation, and belief in the future. He started with a simple idea to make video games look better. But through his hard work and dedication, he helped create a company that is now changing the world. Nvidia's success is a reminder that with the right vision, anything is possible. From a small startup in the 1990s to a global technology leader today, Jensen Huang and Nvidia show us what can be achieved when you believe in your dreams and never give up.
Hey, if you learned something new today, please give this video a like. Write your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second and it really helps to create more English videos for you. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.